We can see Bill pretty clearly. I don't know if his would be a little bit better.
Yeah, I just got hooked up. I think we're gonna try it from here now. So should just be a couple more minutes. Sorry for the delay. I'm gonna make sure that I don't move so I don't lose the access point. I guess maybe we can have him do it.
Will you just stand up with it?
Gotta stand up and hold
Right
it.
there.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that'll be fine.
Okay. But I guess the field will be in the back.
All right, we're gonna start off with Trey. You can start with questions for Trey. Stay right here.
Hey Trey, it's Glenn West here. Just I guess to start, just we get your reactions. I mean, obviously you kind of racked up the awards this year in terms of all SEC defense, a freshman, and all SEC second team. Just talk about your reaction to that when you heard the news.
I mean, of course, that was awesome. That's some goals I had for the beginning of the season, making those teams. But as soon as I got those awards, I knew that the work started, that now we have to play like every game's our last.
Trey Wilson here. On those goals, what were they coming into the year? You had said you tend to post them on the back of your door every season. What did you?
Some goals I had this year was to be freshman of the year. I came up a little short on that. I was to make some SEC teams, definitely to make the all defensive team, and to get that 80 hit mark. I reached some of those goals, but that doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just talk about, obviously a tournament setting, you guys have to take it one game at a time. That's been a message you guys have really preached, all season. How handy does that come in hand, obviously with preaching that one game at a time mentality in the SEC tournament?
Right. We know what these games are. We're not looking forward at any games. We're just trying to win the next game. And we're going to play every game like it's our last, because it very well could be.
Yeah, I mean, Trey, how do y'all feel about just the NCAA tournament stuff right now? Do you feel like you're in a pretty good spot going into this, or do you maybe need to accomplish some more here in Hoover in order to get that locked up?
I mean, we know what we have to do here. We got to handle some business here. Like I said, we got to play every game like it's our last, because everyone counts.
Hey, Trey, I guess just one more from me. The relief pitching, I mean, you guys, I think, got one run on 17 innings pitched this last weekend, and those guys are going to be needed throughout this week. Obviously, just talk about the outings that you guys had from the bullpen this last weekend, and how that can fuel you guys moving forward here.
Yeah, they really stepped up big for us this weekend. Hitting, we struggled a little bit, But for them to go out there and shove like they did and hold us close in those games and wait for the stakes to get hot, they really did their job, and hope they can keep going in the tournament.
Trey, when I say to you, Milne Playground, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the place where you and your father practiced for so many years, what's your earliest memory there, and how influential has that place been on your life?
The earliest memory I have there is definitely winning the city championship that we had there, because we had one of the worst teams projected, but we were able to win a few games, and to win that and celebrate with my friends that are still my friends to this day was amazing.
Yeah, how was that playground on your life? All the work that you and your dad did there for so many years.
Oh man, I mean, I can't even begin to describe the days, the long nights that we had there, practicing every week. I mean, it was awesome.
Hey Trey, it's Michael here. Just could you speak to the idea of being battle tested at this point of the season and kind of having seen, everything that the SEC can throw at you, and now getting ready to experience that in a very shortened but condensed and intensified situation?
I mean, definitely at this point of the season, that freshman excuse or that young team excuse isn't going to work. We have to go out there and play like we've played a full season of college baseball.
How influential on you was the trip that you took to the Dominican Republic with your travel ball team?
Oh, that trip really defined me as a player. It really showed the way they played out there. They played every practice, every game like it was their last, because they had to work to get off the island. So I really adopted that play style and play every game like that.
And, you were in a little bit of a rut for a couple of games, which is a bit unusual for you, and then you broke out in the last game here on Saturday. What did you do to kind of get back to where you had been, and what was causing that little skid for you, which is obviously typical in baseball, but what did you kind of do to get out of it?
I mean, I really just focused on not changing much, knowing how good of a hitter I am. Had a couple conversations with my dad about pitch selection, and that really was the point of emphasis on why I was struggling. I was swinging at bad pitches. But then we got back in the cages, worked on recognizing pitches out the hand, and it started working again.
Yeah, I think the last one for me here. You said your dad called you kind of an entertainer on the field, but you don't really boast much when you're out there. How do you kind of balance putting on a show while staying within yourself and playing the game that you know how to play and being in control in that way?
Oh, definitely. That's all we are, entertainers. But I like to entertain by the way I play rather than the way I talk. And he really instilled that upon me. So I got that from him.
One more for Trey, if anyone has one. All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, Landon is up next. Yeah.
Could you guys work on holding the phone at eye level? It's a little lower than, yep, there you go, and just tilt it down. All right. Beautiful, thank you. Yep, beautiful.
Hey, Landon, I guess just to start from me, you get kind of your reaction to being an all SEC player. I know that's something you've experienced before, but just talk about that again. And then just also how you're feeling. I mean, I know that you had to, come out because of fatigue, a couple days ago, just kind of get an update on how you're feeling.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know I was all SEC until Coach just told me literally about 2 minutes ago. So, I'm proud of that. But the big goal is going through this weekend and getting a bid in the tournament, and then moving on with that. And just on me, yeah, I didn't feel well, but that's that one day is fine. I'm 100%. I'm ready to go tomorrow, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Landon, did you ever figure out what caused that?
No, I mean, I didn't really feel well, and we got an IV and that was about it, so we took care of it, it's behind us, and, I'm ready to go for tomorrow.
I had a quick question about the relief pitchers that you guys, relief outings you guys got this last weekend. I think 17 innings, you guys allowed 1 run out of the bullpen. those are obviously arms you guys are going to have to be relying on throughout this week. Should you make it that far? I mean, just talk about how big of a step forward maybe that was for the bullpen and how you reacted to their outings this last weekend.
Yeah, man, our bullpen has been lights out here recently. And, I mean, one guy that sticks out big time is Javen Coleman. Earlier in the year, he's kind of struggled a little bit, and then he didn't find himself on the mound much. And now he's really stood out, as one of our guys coming out of the pen these last couple of weekends. And, I mean, you can argue that we wouldn't be where we're at without him, so, credit to him. And, he's going to keep doing what he needs to do. And then obviously we got Devin and other guys in the back of the pen, Garrett Edwards. They're all going to come out and do what they need to do. So, and we're going to keep relying on them. I'm going to give it what I have tomorrow, and then we'll see where we're at.
Landon, did y'all, having figured out kind of early being past whatever the fatigue was, does it maybe help you, pitching tomorrow on short rest, having only thrown about 60 pitches in your last start? That short turnaround, does it help maybe not having as long of a start in your last outing?
Yeah, well, I mean, throwing 100 pitches and then getting 7 days, you're still, you have time to recover. But, I mean, you can argue it's kind of similar now that, it's shorter rest, but you also didn't throw as much. So, so yeah, I'm fresh. I feel great. There's none of that fatigue or, whatever it was, so like I said, I got the IV, and then that was it. It took care of that, and I'm ready to go tomorrow.
A couple more questions for Landon.
Yeah, Landon, how have you seen this team develop for this moment? Obviously you guys have seen a lot of ball at this point in the year, and what the tournament type feel at Hoover is like. Do you feel like you guys are ready for this?
Of course. I mean, I don't know what other answer I would have expected, but of course we're ready, So, I mean, if we weren't ready, we shouldn't even came here. So, we're ready to go. We're ready to go.
Landon, what was your attitude, and what was going on when it was 1-8, when you guys were in that kind of ditch? Did you think that 13-17 or whatever it is now was even possible?
Of course, anything's possible when you have time left to play. It's not over till it's over. And then coaches mentioned that, and I mean, like you said, I mean, we were 1-8, and there was nowhere to go but up. I mean, we came back and we did what we were doing earlier in the year, and we made a push, and we found ourselves here in the tournament, and we're going to try and make a push here and then get us a bid.
Any more?
Yeah, I got one real quick. You just mentioned trying to get you a bid. Is that how you want your teammates to approach it, that nothing's guaranteed and you got to get out there and still secure this thing?
Well, I mean, we should go out with the approach of win tomorrow. I mean, that's, if we don't look at tomorrow, we're not going to be looking forward to the rest of the week. And then we're going to go home and we're going to try and school board watch and all this other stuff, which we don't want to do. We want the games to be in our hands, because we have control over that. So we're going to be looking forward to tomorrow and trying to win that game. And then we're going to be on to the next one.
Any more? Thank y'all. Oh, good for you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
All right, y'all can start with questions for Coach.
Hey, Coach. We were just talking with Landon just now, and he says he feels a lot better. Do you have an idea of what's going to happen tomorrow with the starting pitcher? Do you expect him to start, or what's going on there?
Yes, Landon will be the starting pitcher tomorrow. So we've been monitoring how he's been feeling the last few days, and he's been feeling pretty good for really the last 2 or 3 days. And he tells me he's 100%. He's feeling very strong. He's been throwing the last 3 days, and he wants the ball badly. So I'm not going to prevent that from happening.
Oh, were you ever concerned about COVID? I know
No.
we live in that world now.
Not at all, Ed. He's been tested twice a week, just like everybody else, and he's never shown any signs of having it. I mean, every time anybody has a sniffle, we're concerned for that, but he's being tested on a regular basis, just like everybody else. So you have to believe what the tests are telling us. And I'm trying to remember the last time he was tested. It might have been Wednesday of last week, and he wasn't feeling good on Thursday when he pitched. So he passed. I think we got the results on Thursday morning from his Wednesday test, and he wasn't feeling good on Thursday. So I assumed that it wasn't COVID.
Paul, also Just what's Giovanni's status right now? Is he going to be out with that hamstring, or is
I'm going to put him on the eligible roster, but he's going to be out at least until Thursday.
Coach, any looking back on getting to this point, and I asked Landon this, when you guys were 1-8 in the league, did you feel like, I know as a coach you always want to project optimism, but this was like was this a tough sell that you could do this at that point? And
No, Ed, because I have history. You know, when you're old, you have a lot of history, you know, and I've been around a long time, and I've had teams that have started slow before and caught fire. And I think the most obvious case is the 2008 team. You know, with 4 weekends to go in the season, we were 6-11-1 and in 10th place out of 12 teams when it was a 12-team league. And we caught fire at the end of the year. Heck, we made it to Omaha. So, you know, I can tell stories to the kids. That wasn't the only season. Maybe it was, you know, one of the few seasons at LSU, but I had plenty of seasons at Notre Dame or other places where, you know, I know a 56-game season's a long season. I've had seasons where we've started fast and cooled off and not finished as strong. And we've had seasons where we've started slow and then got hot. Most of the seasons we've finished strong. You know, it's kind of been the MO. I don't mean to say that, you know, in any kind of braggadocious way. Believe me, I'm just saying that because of the history, because of being an older coach and an experienced coach, I don't hit the panic button. You know, I know that you can turn it around as quickly as anything. And the only way you can turn it around is by players having a good positive attitude and keep hustling and keep believing in themselves. And I try to teach life lessons each day with these kids. Listen, I had a great mentor in my father. He was a coach for 30 years. And these are the things that he taught his players. And these are the things that I learned from him is that, you know, these youngsters get to play college baseball for 3 or 4 years, but the lessons they learn are things that they take through the rest of their lives. And all of us have had our down moments in our personal lives. And what do you do every time something bad happens in a personal relationship or in a job related thing or whatever? Do you just give up, or do you fight through it and keep a positive attitude? You know, I look at Matt Trent. I know he was an athlete. I'm sure that those lessons you learned as an athlete help you get through those tough times in your life. And those are the things I try to portray to these kids. And so when you're 1-8, you say, hey, you got 2 choices. You can lay there and give up, or you can get up off your feet and come back fighting. And that's what I encouraged them to do. I don't want you to give up. Let's keep fighting and things will turn for the better for us. And eventually they did. And I think we've won our last 3 series. I think we've won 4 of our last 5 series. So we're on the upswing and it's not too late. Listen, we didn't win our divisional title. We didn't win the SEC championship. We don't necessarily have a bid locked up. You know, we didn't finish in with a seeding that we are really proud of, you know, in the SEC or nor that we're used to. But I told them, you know, hey, look, if we come out here and have a great showing, maybe win this tournament, go to a regional, wherever, it'd be a great adventure. It's not going to be at home. We love to play at home, but this year it's going to be an adventure for us. We go win a regional, go win a super regional, go to Omaha. Hey, they'll create their own legacy in LSU lore if they can do things like that. So nobody's given up. The coaching staff's not giving up. Ashley's not giving up. Phil Franquez is not giving up. Nobody's given up. The players aren't giving up. So we're just going to keep going. And hopefully we're going to have some good things happen here in the postseason. The regular season can be such a grind. I'm telling you, especially in this league, you know, the difference between having a good season and a below average season is so minuscule. We lost 7 one-run games and 2 two-run games. That's 9 games that were by whiskers. You know, if we just turned around half of those games, you know, the season would have a different feel to it. We got walked off 4 times on the road. Anybody that's played the game and been walked off knows what a distasteful feeling that is. Yet, you know, you were very competitive and had a chance to win those games. So, you know, there's no moral victory. I'm not trying to say that there is, but you don't get down because you know you're right there. And if you just do a little bit more, you can win those games the next time. And that's what I try to make our kids believe. And nothing positive happens when you beat them down. Only positive things happen when you make them believe in themselves and that they can still do it. So when we were 1-8, I looked at that as a great opportunity for these kids to learn some life lessons and to become proud of themselves. And that was the approach I took with it.
Obviously, you guys are focused on the postseason, but I'm sure you saw the Skip Bertman a documentary. What was just your thoughts on it, and just what does just he mean having him around to this program and just LSU baseball, all that he started?
Ron, I actually got a link to it, and I showed it to the team on the bus when we were about an hour and a half outside of Hoover. We were watching regular movies, and then I timed it just before we arrived in Hoover for the time before we got here to play it on the bus. I sent them all a text message and explained about the history and tradition of LSU baseball. You know, these kids weren't even born when Skip took over here. You know, most of them were born when Skip retired, you know. So I had to explain to them a little bit about the history. When I played at LSU, our baseball coach, he was a part-time coach. His main job was he was the equipment manager for the football team. You know, they see the SEC with these beautiful stadiums and great programs and, you know, top 5 teams in the country are from the SEC. It wasn't like that all the time. And what Skip did here was unbelievable. But the players here don't know the history. So I had to explain it to them. And then I showed them the video of Hold the Rope. And they needed to understand that. And they needed to understand that I got handed the baton and became the custodian along with the players. We became the custodians of this program. And then when they put that jersey on, you know, they're representing all of the great players and coaches that were here before us that built this program. That's a huge responsibility. And, you know, what you do in the postseason is what creates your legacy. And so you get through the grind of the regular season, you get into the postseason, and now the fun time begins. This is when you create your legacy. And what Skip has meant not only to this program, this university, the state, but to me personally, I can't even put it into words. He brought me here. You know, he brought me to LSU. I'm forever in debt to the man. He's like a second father to me, and I love him dearly. And when he called me about coming to LSU, I had turned down a half a dozen other jobs when I was at Notre Dame, including several in the SEC. I never wanted to leave Notre Dame. The only school for which I would have left Notre Dame was LSU. And when Skip called me, you know, I was so moved that he had the confidence in me to become the coach at LSU. It was just impossible for me to say no. And when I came here, I told him that my only goal was to make him proud of me. And it remains my goal today. You know, I just want Skip to be proud of me and the program that he created here. And you know, listen, this year's been a rough year. I'm not necessarily proud of where the results are, where we are, but I'm proud of the effort. And most of the years have been pretty good. You know, we've only won one national championship. I say only. There's a lot of schools that wish they had won, you know, but you know, we've been pretty close several other times. And you know, Skip Bertman is just, you know, he means everything to me.
Coach, do you think that you kind of touched on it a little bit? Do you think that now getting into the tournament, this is the easy part? You know, do you think the kids will play with a little bit of relief, weight lifted off their shoulders, being that you've had to grind these last 3 series to even get here?
I sure hope so, Matt. And that's what I'm counting on, you know, and that's what I explained to them. That's what teams have done in the past. You know, there's a lot of pressure on these kids to play at LSU. And, you know, the expectations are through the roof, and they're still young kids, you know, and especially this year's team. You know, most of these players had never seen an SEC game, you know, have been involved in an SEC game before this year. And it took them a while to adjust to it. And once they did, they started playing much better. And now that we've got through the regular season, we've gotten into the postseason, typically what we've done in past years is a more relaxation comes over the players and they play their best baseball in the postseason. I just told them, this is the fun time. This is the fun part of the season. This is when you go out there and you let it rip. And we've had a lot of success here in Hoover, and I hope 2021 will be more of the same.
Paul, do you think you guys have a little wind behind your back right now, or is that overrated?
No, I think so. I think so, Ed. Sure. You know, confidence is an amazing thing. You know, it's like the chicken or the egg. What comes first? You know, the chicken or the egg? Do you have confidence because you're playing well, or do you play well because you have confidence? I think you have to have confidence to play well, but I think the more you play well, the more your confidence grows and you start to believe that you can do anything. And, you know, we've won 3 series in a row. We've won 4 of our 5 road series. So, you know, playing away from Alec Bach Stadium is not something that our kids are afraid of doing. They've had a lot of success away from home. We won 4 of our 5 road series, plus we won at UL, we won at UNO, you know, so, you know, we've won away from the box, and I think our kids are very confident about their chances.
Paul, obviously, to make a run in the tournament, you got to have a lot of pitching, and it seems like your relievers have really come on, especially this past weekend. Where's your kind of confidence level in them now, especially, you know, getting guys like Ty Floyd and Javen Coleman and all those guys pitching well like they did at Texas A&M?
Well, obviously that performance the other day, I don't even know what to say about it, Wilson. It was one of the greatest relief performances, team relief performances that I can ever remember as a coach. I think it was 11 innings, scoreless innings. And that was unbelievable. So more than my confidence in them is their confidence in themselves. And I think I heard a little bit of Landon's interview talking about Javen Coleman. He's been coming on ever since the midweek game before the Ole Miss series. He's been outstanding. And I was really proud of Michael Fowler the other day. Ty Floyd is growing by leaps and bounds. Garrett Edwards is, you know, he's been amazing. You know, my only concern with him is just he's had a little bit of a sore arm that he's just having to grapple with. And Devin Fontenot has obviously been money. You know, he's he's dealing with a little bit of an ailment right now, not arm related, but he's got to overcome another little issue with his physical status. But hopefully he'll be okay for tomorrow. But yeah, I got a lot of confidence in those guys because they have a lot of confidence in themselves right now.
One more question, because we don't want the computer to die.
Paul, is it the same approach when you come into the tournament this year in a game like tomorrow, where it's do or die, as compared to a year where maybe you have a bye going into it, and how critical do you think tomorrow's game is?
Who's asking that question? Scott?
Scott.
Okay. Well, you know, Scott, we've had a couple of them. You know, we played Tennessee one year in a Tuesday game, and I remember we fell behind in the game, and Greg Dykman had a home run in the 9th inning to tie it. Kramer Robertson got a walk-off hit in the bottom of the 9th inning. We had another one against Mississippi State, against a really good Mississippi State team that had Jake Mangum and I don't remember if Dakota Hudson pitched that game against us, but they had a really good pitcher that game, and we beat them that day as well. So we've had a little bit of experience with it. It's an elimination game, you know, so, you know, whether you have 1 loss or no losses and playing the one and done game, it's, you know, your backs are against the wall, and you just got to find that zone and find a way to get the job done. Listen, if you had one game that you had to win, I'd prefer to have Landon Marceaux on the mound and Devin Fontenot available out of the bullpen. So, you know, I hate to say I like our chances, but I feel confident with those 2 guys towing the slab for us. And I think we'll be ready to play tomorrow. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Bye, everybody. Ashley's the boss.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. That was pretty good.